What is up, guys? You got Tone here, and I am bringing you the NES Season 1 Finals. We, the main Red Clawsters, have mega launched ourselves to the Final 2, and we are one win away from our very first championship in my very first official league, so to speak. Um, and we are up against the Mad Danny coach of the Aston Charizards. We played them a couple of weeks back, and we did lose 2-0. They were actually the last team to beat us before we went on this little winning streak of ours. So it's pretty much going to be looking for redemption for us. But I feel as though I brought a team that could adequately handle most of pretty much his entire team to an extent, depending on his EV spreads and stuff like that. So, some Pokemon I knew that he would bring from the last time. Just to recap, he had, other than the Pokemon he brought today with the Gyarados, Metagross, Ferrothorn, Rotom Heat, Mega Sableye, and the Hydreigon. He also has stuff like the Azumarill. He has the Flygon, Rhydon, which he did bring the last time, which I was sort of expecting this time. But I knew you would change up his team a bit from the last time we fought, and I tried to change up my team a bit just to try to keep up with his team. So, coming into this, I knew one thing for sure, that if I was to go off the last time we battled, he brought Ferrothorn, Assault Vest Ferrothorn, and I believe specially defensive Rotom Heat, and he left Metagross in the back, and he brought Rhydon instead. This time it's pretty much a similar team, with the exception of he actually decided to bring Metagross over the Rhydon, and everything else is pretty much the same. As for my team is also somewhat similar to the last team I brought against him, with some changes to the team. Of course, the last time we battled him, we didn't have Kieran Black on the team, so I knew Kieran Black would be playing an important role in this battle. So it's very crucial that I pick my spots to try to get my Kieran Black in for free. So just to run down the team I brought: Assault Vest, Hitmontop, Close Combat, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Mach Punch. It's EV in a way so it can take a Life Orb, Draco Meteor from a Hydreigon. Adamant Nature with enough attack investment to one-hit KO Hydreigon with Close Combat. Stone Edge hits the Rotom Heat. EQ in case he brought the EQ is just there for like the Metagross and the Rhydon, and I don't have to risk me dropping my defenses with Close Combat. And Mach Punch is there for priority. I know Hitmontop can't touch the Mega Sableye, but it's not meant to be staying on a Mega Sableye anyway, so that's my Hitmontop set. Next up, we have my Shuckleberry Lantern Thunder with Scald, Thunderbolt, HP Fire, and Dazzling Gleam for the Hydreigon and the Mega Sableye. Scald to possibly cripple the Metagross and the Ferrothorn with a burn. T-Bolt for the Azumarill and the Gyarados, Dazzling Gleam, Mega Sableye, and the Hydreigon and the Flygon, and HP Fire lets me hit the Ferrothorn. Lantern is my dedicated switch into the Rotom Heat. If I could wear that thing down from Mega Gardevoir, that'd be nice. And I knew it would be kind of a risk to bring Mega Gardevoir, even though he has like 3 resist to Fairy. I still felt as though I could bring it pretty safely because I had other Pokemon that could handle it. Lantern being one of them, and my next one, Nidoqueen as well. Stealth Rock 3 attacks, Stealth Rock, Sludge Wave, Fire Blast, and Thunderbolt. I know this Nidoqueen, it can't really I had to be predicting with the Rotom Heat. Didn't feel like bringing Earth Power because it didn't really hit much on his team other than the Metagross, which I had Fire Blast for. T-Bolt hits the Gyarados. Running Pasho Berry on it so I can live a Waterfall, retaliate with a Thunderbolt, knock it out. Maybe it's not with Canberry. Main issue for Nidoqueen is the fact that I can't do much to Mega Sableye, but I feel as though the rest of my team can power through it pretty well. It's a simple max HP, max special attack. Nidoqueen's nothing too fancy. Uh, Next up, we have my Manaphy. Tail Glow 3 attacks. Tail Glow Scald, Dazzling Gleam, and Hidden Power Fire. Pretty much hits a good majority of his team for at least super effective damage, except for the Gyarados, but Dazzling Gleam is enough. Running a more bulky spread so I can take hits a lot better. I could have ran like a faster spread for like Hydreigon, but the last time he brought Hydreigon it was Modest Scarf. I figured he would bring it if he would bring like a Scarf variant again. My speed investment would be pointless. I also thought about what Canberry for that Rotom Heat, but I decided against it as I did have my switching is to Lantern. So just running leftovers, nothing real fancy. Next we have Kyurem Black. Life Orb 4 attacks. Fusion Bolt. With Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, Earth Power, HP Fire. Naive Nature with just enough speed to outspeed a timid max speed Rotom Heat. Enough attack investment on my Kyurem Black to ensure that Fusion Bolt can one-shot the Gyarados even past the Intimidate. It does a good chunk to the Azumarill. Ice Beam hits the Hydreigon on the switch, but I know Hydreigon isn't want to switch on a Kyurem Black. It was just like a hypothetical scenario. Earth Power for the Metagross, and the Rotom Heat as Terravolt bypasses Levitate, and HP Fire for the Ferrothorn. And lastly, we have Mega Gardevoir, Wish Protect, Will-O-Wisp, and Hyper Voice. I couldn't think of anything else to bring on my Gardevoir. I didn't need Side Shock because he has 2 resistances and 2 immunities to Psychic, so Side Shock would be pretty pointless, and Will-O-Wisp can cripple the Metagross, cripple the Ferrothorn, and the Gyarados. I do have to be cautious though because my Gardevoir I cannot spam Hyper Voice as freely as I wanted to, though I could potentially weaken stuff for the rest of my team. So just a simple max HP, max physically defensive Gardevoir, just to take hits a little bit better from like Ferrothorn if I can burn it. Gyro Ball won't kill. Power Whip won't be doing much damage, etc., etc. I can just wish stall it out and keep my Gardevoir healthy. So looking at his team, he has some potential leads. I knew he could let up with the Sableye, get the Mega Evolution off. But I figured looking at his team, his Stealth Rock was either going to be the Ferrothorn or the Metagross, and considering in the past he did bring like a Assault-Vest Metagross before, last time he brought Assault-Vest Ferrothorn against me, so I figured that the safest lead for me would be the Lantern, because Lantern has coverage for everything on his team. I can Scald the Rotom Heat. It can't Volt Switch because of Voltazorb. I can Dazzling Gleam the Hydreigon. Hidden Power Fire hits the Ferrothorn. And Dazzling Gleam the Sableye. Hidden Power Fire the Metagross. So if Metagross comes in on Lantern, I'm going to be clicking Scald because in the past he did bring Weakness Policy, Agility, Metagross. So I had to be cautious about that. So overall, I felt that Lantern was my safest lead. So start the battle here. I leave up with my Lantern. He leads up with Ferrothorn here. I go for HP Fire. He reveals he's Akaberry, especially defensive. Ferrothorn, he gets his Stealth Rocks up. So now I'm just going to hard switch into my Hitmontop here just to see what he decides to do as he pulls a double into the Sableye, which is a solid play. I'm forced to switch out into my Gardevoir here as he decides to get the Mega Evolution off as he goes for the Toxic, and unfortunately he missed. So he's forced to switch out into his Rotom Heat as I go for the Wish here, which forced him into the Sableye as I go out into my Nidoqueen, back into my Lantern, excuse me. So I get my Wish up, and I hard switch into my Nidoqueen here, predicting the Toxic, which he does go for. I want to make a misplay. I want to switch for Stealth Rock here accidentally, but I go for Fire Blast here to go for Recover, just to gauge my damage. And now I'm just, I'm misclicking Fire Blast here, trying to weaken the Sableye. I could have hard switched here. I'm forced to switch out because of the special defense drop. Go on into my Lantern as he pulls a double into the Rotom Heat. He's forced to switch out into the Hydreigon. I went for Scald here, didn't want to risk him staying in. I'm forced to go out into my Hitmontop, which is my Hydreigon switching, as it goes for the safe U-turn. Back out into the Sableye. I'm forced to switch out back into my Nidoqueen as he goes for the Recover, I believe. No, he went for Toxic, then he went for Recover afterwards. So I'm just trying to keep this thing low as he goes for the Recover. I could have went for Stealth Rock here, but I decided that just to keep clicking Fire Blast was my best option because I couldn't really touch the Sableye. So now he goes on to the Ferrothorn here, so I'm going out into my Lantern because he knows my Lantern's my Rotom Heat switching. So now I'm forced to go back into my Nidoqueen here. I decide to go for a Power Whip. So from here, he goes back out into his Hydreigon, as I unfortunately missed my Fire Blast. So he goes for the U-turn here, thinking I would switch out. It doesn't kill me, but he goes into his Gyarados here. And now I go for Fire Blast one more time. So now he makes a pretty optimal play, go for a substitute, thinking I would switch out, try to save this thing. I go for a Thunderbolt here just to see what he was going to do. I really have no need to save my Nidoqueen. I could have went for Stealth Rock there, but I give him a free switching. I give him a free turn to set up Dragon Dance, which I didn't want. So I go for Thunderbolt here. And now I'm just spam Thunderbolt trying to keep this thing low. But unfortunately, I can't win the 1v1 situation. There's nothing I can really switch out into bar the Gardevoir, but if I mistime my switch, he can go for Shadow Ball, and then I would lose my Gardevoir, my only real way to deal with Mega Sableye and Hydreigon. So I'm just constantly clicking Thunderbolt here as he finally decides to finish off my Nidoqueen with a Shadow Ball. But with that, I get a free switching into my Mega Gardevoir, which is what I wanted. So from here, he's forced to switch out. He decides to go to his Ferrothorn here. I decided to go for the Hyper Voice. Doesn't do much, I knew that. But now I get to go for the Will-O-Wisp here. Fortunately for me, I do connect, but he decides to paralyze my Gardevoir with Thunder Wave, which was a solid play. So now, his Ferrothorn, both our mons are crippled. I'm forced to go out into my Hitmontop here. He decided to go for a Gyro Ball actually, so doesn't do crap to my Hitmontop after the Intimidate. He's forced to switch out into a Sableye. I predicted to go for Stone Edge, but unfortunately I missed. It wouldn't have mattered much because it wouldn't do that much damage anyway. So now I'm forced to go into my Lantern this time, as he goes back and pulls a double into the Ferrothorn. So his Ferrothorn already did the job, so I'm just gonna he just lets his Ferrothorn drop to the HP Fire, which is fine. So one less thing for my Gardevoir, like Hyper Voice, he goes back out into this Mega Sableye, and now I reveal Dazzling Gleam on my Lantern here. Doesn't do much, but the fact that he knows I have it means that he can't switch out. I went for Scald this turn, thinking he would switch out into Metagross or the Rotom Heat, but I'm constantly clicking Scald now. And now he goes for a Toxic. So now that I am my Lantern at the time here, I could have actually doubled out into my Manaphy, predicting the on the Recover here as I finally get the Skull Burn. He goes for Recover. I'm in a bad situation here. I need to keep my Lantern around, but I decided to just keep this Mega Sableye low enough to the point where I get a free switch into either my Manaphy or my Mega Gardevoir at this point. So for here, instead of trying to risk the Toxic taking me out, I decided to go hard into my Manaphy here. And I decided to go for a Tail Glow, even though I know that the unfortunate Toxic is coming, which is kind of why I wish I had sub Tail Glow. So he decides to go for a Toxic, and unfortunately he lands this time. Now my Manaphy's on a timer here, but despite this, I'm able to pick off this Mega Sableye with a Dazzling Gleam. So we're now up 5-4. So now he goes out into the Rotom Heat this time. Unfortunately, I'm not running any speed to outspeed this thing, so he gets the Volt Switch off. I kind of wish I ran speed though. He Volt Switched out into the Gyarados here. And I decided to go for a Scald. Safest play. I get a crit, but no burn, unfortunately. That actually would have been pretty somewhat clutch, but not to that point. I'm faster than the Gyarados though, so meaning he wasn't running any speed. So I take out the Gyarados, but unfortunately I die to the next hit. So in comes the Rotom Heat, and he finishes it off with a Volt Switch. So he gets free switch initiative here. I decide to go out into back into his Metagross this time. I go onto my Hitmontop. I figured I should try to get some chip damage off on the Metagross with Earthquake. Unfortunately, he's faster and goes for that Headbutt, knocks out my Hitmontop. Now in comes my Kyurem here, and I get to click free Earth Power here. I decided to sack off the Rotom Heat this time, as I wasn't doing much the rest of the battle, which was a good sack on his part, because it now gives him a free switch into the He gave him a first choice to Hydreigon, but he decides to go for the Metagross, and here he reveals he was Scarf Metagross as my Kyurem unfortunately drops. My Lanturn cannot live an Iron Head, but he decides to switch out into the Hydreigon here as I go for the Scald. Don't get the burn here, but unfortunately I'm now in range of U-turn. He just goes for U-turn. Down goes my Lanturn. Free switch into his Scarf Metagross, and all I have left is the Mega Gardevoir. He gets paralyzed on faster. He goes for the Iron Head, and unfortunately that is the game. So it sucks the turn events that happen as this game progressed. I could have taken my time with what my thought process was. I could have predicted a lot better in this matchup. Like, there was 2 opportunities I could have Dazzling Gleamed the Hydreigon with my Lanturn, and I decided to choose the safe option. Not to say that I was trying to play conservatively, I just felt as though Scald was the best play because if I got the burn, the chip damage would have been nice for the on the Hydreigon, but the main thing that threw me off was the Choice Scarf Metagross outspeeding my Kyurem, which made sense bringing Scarf Metagross. But if I did bring Scarf Kyurem, it kind of would have helped because if I got rid of the Gyarados, he had nothing on his team stop me from spamming Earth Power. But at the same time, I would need like significant chip damage to like do any real damage with it unless I was like Modest Scarf. And if he was Modest Scarf Hydreigon, he'd be faster than me. He takes me out. So unfortunately, the season ends for us 2 Pokemon shy of a title. So I'm not really upset that I lost. Like, I know I could have played the endgame a little bit better. I know if I brought different sets and all that stuff, it could have been a different outcome. Like, if I got rid of the if I weakened the Ferrothorn and I got rid of the Gyarados pretty early on, Subtail Manaphy with Scald and Dazzling Gleam actually put in a ton of work in this game, especially if I got those Scald burns on the Metagross and the Gyarados. But nevertheless, GG Mad Danny. He prepped extremely well for my team. He made credible plays. He pretty much played better than me, and he deserved the title. I'm not gonna sit here and like cry over spilled milk. The fact that I even got to the finals in the first place, I'm happy with the result that I did. I'm happy with the way that I played. I'm happy with how I started with this team. I struggled, and then I found my bearings again. Pushed through to the playoffs, made it all the way to the finals. So I can't complain. I will take this loss. It stings a little bit, but not to the point where I need to like reassess my thinking plan, because there was no way for me to assume or predict he would be Scarf Metagross. I was honestly expecting Scarf Hydreigon this whole time. He could have been Scarf Hydreigon. There was no way of knowing that. I forgot to ask. But I did well. I did well for myself. Considering the way that the season started for me, going 3-0, then I got swept by Superior, and then having that rough stretch of back and forth wins losses, and then getting Kyurem Black in that trade, and then I just go on a tear through the league, finishing the season 11-4, number 3 team in the league, and making it all the way to the finals. So, if anything, it does suck that I lost. It sucks even worse than the fact that I lost to the person who I last lost to prior, if that makes any sense, and by the same score, no less than 2-0. But nonetheless, I'm happy. I wish I could have won, but what more can you do? What more can I do? So I'm gonna just quit rambling, but for the most part, I'm happy with my team, despite how I constantly change my team up with the my free agent acquisitions. But I am extremely proud of the team as a whole. There were some Pokemon in which I wish I had used better, like Nidoqueen. I wish I could have used you a lot better. I left you out as sack fodder plenty of times. The same thing applies to my Gourgeist too. I played you very, very poorly and especially in situations where you actually put in a ton of work and I just sacked you off for no reason. But my big three in Manaphy, Kieran Black, and my Mega Gardevoir put in absolute work throughout the entire season. Well, in Kieran Black's case, half the season, but I'm happy with those three. I'm happy with the rest of my team. Hitmontop came through and at times. Lantern especially came through in certain situations. Nidoqueen, despite the fact that how badly I used it, did come through in certain spots. Just to run down the rest of my team, Cobalion picked up a bunch of kills, came through for me in the clutch when I needed it to. Druddigan especially, it just did everything on my team. Stealth Rock, offensive sheer force sets with Assault Vest. I can't go wrong with Druddigan. What else did I? Oh yeah, my Blissey, I never used you. I haven't used you plenty since the early part stages of the season, but you did put in work when I brought you. I brought some crazy sets on you. Counter Chople Berry was still my favorite, even though I never got to pull it off. Just my team as a whole, it wasn't the best team. I mean, I lacked certain things on my team that made it great, like my lack of a decent flying resist. No disrespect to my Lantern. I didn't have a dark type on my team, so my psychic resist was either bring Blissey or a bulky Mega Gardevoir. Oh, I forgot about my Scolipede. Oh man. Yeah, Scolipede actually put in a ton of work. At the beginning, I used it very, very recklessly, and I left it out as sack fodder, but then I learned how to manage Scolipede's game plan. Had a match where I got 4 kills, agility baton pass, substitute baton pass came through in the playoffs round 1 to my Kieran Black, and that was a great thing. But Scolipede came through when it needed to. My entire team in general wasn't the best, like I said, but I'm happy with the result. Happy with how far I gotten in this season, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 2 and how that plays out. But I will be back, and I'm aiming to get back in this position, and I am looking for that title. I am not going to be stopped now, and eventually the time will come for me. I'm in no rush. The title would have been nice now, but I learned from my mistakes. So, and I got to build with all these crazy mons that I never thought I would actually draft or acquire in Kieran Black's case. So I can't complain with the result. I can't complain with how I played. I played to the best of my abilities with the team that I drafted and the team that I felt was the best for each week. And at the end of the day, if I'm comfortable with that, whether I win or lose, didn't really matter in the long run for me, because Pokemon's about having fun. Draft League format has definitely opened up a wide range of thinking, not just in my case, but everybody else's case in the league, and it's going to be very, very fun to see how season 2 starts up, and especially considering that we'll be including Pokemon from Sun and Moon, so it's going to be a very, very interesting time. So, despite all my rambling I've done for the past 10 minutes or so, if you did enjoy this battle, please throw your love by hitting that like button, and feel free to hit that subscribe button, because, well, since the NES is over, but I do have other league draft formats to showcase, much like the IBL week 6 and 7 matches will be uploaded together. And in the last video I did upload that I am a member of the MPL Minors of the National Pokeball League, so the rest of those matches will be uploaded in the next few days, hopefully. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I thank you all for coming along for this long and arduous ride in this long and grueling NES season. And I'm just happy that I'm just glad it's over, because this was too stressful for me. Way too stressful for me. But I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So until the next time, until season 2 of the NES shows up, my name is Anthony, aka Tone, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side. Later.